Hello, guys. We are here once more in the UK and with a new independent artist. That's a new interview from an independent artist from the USA, not from the UK, okay? But let's talk about something very interesting because this is a mix of music genres and I just love it. So let's talk with the Laconic, but also Mark, who is representing the Laconic. So, Mark, just
Mhm.
let us know where you are right now and what kind of music are you doing?
Well, I'm an artist based in Chicago, Illinois, USA. And the kind of music I do is, I call it EAF music sometimes, which is like epic AF, because I like to make it epic. But it's sort of a combination of progressive rock, I don't know, I call it post-progressive rock, but it's eclectic, it's evocative, it includes a lot of electronic elements. Um, I'd kind of call it post-progressive, but it's instrumental. It's all instrumental, so no lyrics, no vocals.
Can we say
And I call
it's
what I do.
cinematic,
That's a
evoke
good, yeah.
emotion?
That's another good adjective that I forgot to drop in there. Yeah, cinematic, which I hadn't really thought about until during the making of, actually during the mixing of this last album, because they tried to go for more cinematic feel, and I thought, well, that's about right. Something big, bigger than life.
Right. I just realized that there is a lot of artists exploring this kind of music right now, and also working with cinema production, and they are using a lot of music like that. So it helps to evoke emotions, and it's incredible how it works, especially in combination with some image, etc. The scenes like with action and this kind of,
Hmm.
it's just amazing. So I'm sure that I'm gonna love this interview because I love cinema too, not only music. So you are in Chicago, right?
Yes.
Great. How it is for this industry, but for independent artists in Chicago? Is it a good industry? It's developed or it's growing right now?
I mean, it's hard for me to tell. It's not like I don't interact a lot with other artists in Chicago because actually all the people I work with are all over the world. Um, there's other touch guitarists I collaborate with that are in uh, Maine and Texas, and my producers in Berlin, and my my friend and master and contributor Eric is in Denmark, and his wife also Christina is in Denmark. There's people in the UK that I collaborate with, and then my brother who's just down an hour away. So the Chicago music scene. I have a very narrow view of, because I go to there's about two venues that I frequent that do sort of more proggy stuff, and that's about it. So any view I have on the music industry is sort of filtered. It's sort of more global than Chicago, I think.
Oh, it's more international. That's good. And
Yeah.
with the music streaming platforms, it's not impossible to start an artistic career based online only, not in live performance, and
Yeah.
in reach a very different audience than the place where you live. It's very normal today because the streaming services. So
Yeah.
you are
It's
going this
definitely.
way.
Yeah, that's definitely
Great.
where I am. I mean, yeah, it's my first album was very much just me, but the new one is very much an international collaboration. But
Right.
again, from if you're asking like what my experience of the music industry is, it's kind of awful. Um, it's hard
Oh,
out there.
come on, don't
I
say
mean,
that.
I mean, it's tough. You can't just make music. You have to produce content along all these different channels, which is interesting. I mean, maybe more interesting than it used to be, but trying to make a living seems really, really tough. I mean, so I feel a lot for musicians out there, and I think people
Oh yeah,
should
that's
keep that
true.
in
I would
mind,
love
just trying to support them.
That's true. A lot of artists they are also make this kind of comments when I have an interview from different countries. It's not from the UK or the USA, etc. They are kind of complain, like saying that it's difficult and hard work to create content to all social networks. There are too many, and still creating music. Most of
Mhm.
them independent artists they feel the need of bringing a team together to do music and build the structure behind the music for marketing and promotion,
Yeah.
etc. But they are independent. They are investing by themselves. They are making music by themselves, and it's more difficult. And there is one more thing that many of them are mentioning too is that on the platforms like Spotify, for example, today there is more than 68 million tracks that nobody's listening, even once.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why
Officially
I
started.
feel I
Yeah.
feel like I'm ahead of the game just because I do actually have people listening on Spotify.
Yeah, but
You know,
it's
it's
difficult.
not a lot,
It's
but it's
difficult. If you
it's
get
more and
like
more.
100 plays, it's already a good number because we know there
Yeah.
is a lot of people that don't get any play. So obviously you have a website, you have Spotify. So those watching, go to Spotify, Laconic, and follow his profile. So when he has new release, you get a notification and you can listen to. Follow on Spotify, the Laconic, YouTube, the Laconic Music, Facebook, the Laconic Music, and his website, thelaconicmusic.com, if you want to know more about his projects. Don't forget, follow. Not only visit and exploring the posts, but follow. That's the most important.
Thank you.
But you please create content for us. I'm gonna follow you
Yeah.
now just to make sure that on Spotify. Can you hear here? Can you see here?
Yes.
Following.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna give the
Great.
example. So uh,
That's one at a
um,
time. Just
yeah, of course, of
everyone
course.
counts.
Everybody's starting from zero, so it's
Yeah.
there is that doesn't I also say to all my partners when I have any kind of project, there is no correct age, there is no correct number to start, there is no if you create on social networks a profile today, just post your songs, videos, especially with your music
Yeah.
on the background, and reels and stories, and use some hashtags from your music genre. And I'm sure people will find you because
Yeah.
when they follow other artists from the same music genre, they get your music too. Good.
Yep. Yep. Good.
So, I have some more questions about why you started creating this kind of music. Is there any kind of occupation you have on the background that
Yeah. I
brought
mean,
some influence?
um, any kind of occupation I have in the background. Is that what you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch it. Yeah.
So you
I
work
mean, yeah.
only with music or production?
No, I mean, so the story is, I mean, I've played instruments for a long time, for all my life, um, but my occupation is I'm really a data scientist, is what they call it now.
Oh wow, that's amazing! I work
Yeah,
with
and
artificial intelligence.
yeah, sort of. I mean, I feel a little bit like I'm just almost too old to really start getting into that, but I am anyway. And I have a colleague who digs more into artificial intelligence and deep learning. But I'm more of like a statistics background. Um,
All right.
but yeah, I'm basically a data scientist. I build mathematical models for banks, and
Oh
being a
my God,
musician.
I'm feeling important right now. That's amazing. That's amazing. Everyone I have an interview, they say they are working another kind of, professional area that there is nothing to do with music, and I find it really interesting because, man, obviously. if you can have just an occupation work and like could have a lot of live performance and live from music, that's
Yeah,
amazing, perfect, right? But
yeah, yeah,
obviously, in a market like that today, with the digital era, it's really hard to get there. But that's not the only way. The way you are doing, going to the through the digital more online, it's perfect too. And don't say you are too old. I don't accept that. I don't accept that. There is no correct age. Come on. How
yeah,
old are
yeah.
you?
49, almost. Yeah, for a few more weeks anyway.
I'm 40. Man, I just love it. And I have a question about the transition from the analogic to the digital, CD and digital. What do
Yeah.
you think about that? Is it positive for the music industry?
It is
It
what it
is
is.
and
I
it's
mean,
not.
it is. It's not. It's just a change. You with digital. The thing is, it's so the music industry has changed dramatically, and it's like it doesn't. It's not even hasn't realized that it's happened. Um, it's so easy for the good thing is anyone with a decent computer and a bit of investment in instruments can make music and make really highly professional sounding music. You can what we can do at home is something that you would have had to rent a whole studio would have been super expensive. I mean, that's why really people had to get signed to labels so they could fund stuff like that. And now you can get a copy of Ableton Live, not even the full version necessarily, for a few $100 and run it on a decent computer. And even with just that and what's built into Ableton Live, you can be making music that sounds just far better than something that someone could have done on their own, you know, 20 years ago.
That's
So
true.
that's good. But then the thing that comes with that is there's so many people making music. So it's very competitive, you know. So back to Spotify, even just to get a few hundred, like 100 followers is like fairly difficult. Um, so that's the flip side of it, and it's kind of good in a way because if you think what you want the future, what you always thought the future would be like, once we got sort of the basic problems of humanity solved, is that everybody would be, what would we do with our time? And it's like, well, I think a lot of us would spend it making art. Um, so in a sense, we're getting there. But it becomes more and more important that you really have to be satisfied with making art for yourself, which that really should have been the goal all along. But now it's like that. It's obvious that that's the goal. And if you can get other people to listen to it, great. But you got to make stuff and make yourself happy from it. Make the kind of thing that you want to listen to. And it really shouldn't matter if you have a bunch of followers or not. If you've done that, you've really succeeded. So in a way, it's good for artistic integrity too, because it sort of encourages that.
Yeah, but numbers of likes and followers, it's a great illusion, Mark. I know big artists that use it to buy followers for real. So I tell everyone, don't worry about numbers of followers and likes.
Yeah.
I realize that we grow a lot releasing music and doing better than the previous release every
Yeah.
time, and then this makes you find your audience, post on social networks, etc., or using some platforms like Muso Soup to help you get on articles about your music, music news portals specialized on that music genre.
Mhm.
So it's really difficult, but not impossible. And don't worry about numbers. Numbers are a great illusion, especially on social networks like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. post, use your hashtags, and people will find you. The algorithm
Yeah.
will help you with that. Amazing. So, man, you know a lot of things. It's this kind of conversation is very interesting. And you said, "Oh, my career is not very big, etc." But you know a lot of things. This is interesting to talk about. That there is a lot of people that find the same difficulties, and when they watch
Mhm.
this kind of interview, they relate, and we need to talk. We need to talk about it. We need people
Yeah.
open up about it. So,
Great.
about Spotify, you started releasing music on Spotify. Uh, Let me just open here this one.
Yeah.
Can you see Spotify now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you started releasing music on 2022, right? The first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So my first album called Integrals, I think the album was released in April. Wait, March. I want to say April of 2022, and I think the first Strider was the first single from that. Um, I think I only did one. No, maybe I did. I don't remember how many singles I did. One or two. Um, yeah, it's
The
starting to
first,
look
the
substantial.
first was just a single in 2022, and then you brought the album
Yeah,
Integral,
yeah.
and
Integrals
then
was my first album, and then just a year later, I released first single from the new album, which is Saber, followed by Equinox, and then actually the whole album I just released on Spotify yesterday.
right. Uh, is it related? Your music is it related to this shift that's happening worldwide in the humanity about solar flares, about the shift in the energy in the universe and the planets, etc.? Is it about that? I'm asking, I'm
No,
asking because of the title.
Equinox actually. So that yeah, there's a whole story behind that which relates to the first album. So the the concept, which you can't tell from listening to it, behind the first album, but it's kind of what got me going on writing it,
This
was
one,
that yeah, integrals, yeah, was that I would try to write I would try to write a song a month, at least get the composition substantially done, and it would be inspired by that month and related to that month in some way. So, for example, Anthem, the first song, was I think, yeah, it was the first one I wrote for the album. That was supposed to be a July song. So July's the seventh month, so it's in 7/4 time. Um, it's it's sort of a Fourth of July fireworks and explosions song. So like the percussion, the synth percussion on it sounds kind of like firecrackers, and I think I actually have some fireworks sounds in there. So, for example, Anthem is a July song, Siege is a August song, and then there's Solstice, which is a December song for the winter solstice, and it has lots of elements in it that I think it's in 12/8 time probably, and there's sort of wintry sounds in it. So there was a song Solstice already, and when I was working on the new album, I thought I need one more song. I'm just going to make it something. I just want something that sounds pretty. And I was writing that in around September, I think August and September, and it felt like a spiritual kin or cousin to the song Solstice. So I thought, well, it's September. It's around the fall equinox, so I'll call it Equinox.
all right.
So
So
it's kind of got this long story to it, but there's some logic to it.
there is a lot of meaning. It's instrumental, but there is a lot of meaning without the
Mhm.
lyrics. Right,
Yeah.
great. It must be interesting to be like to have a very good earphone, just relax. drink some wine and listening to the whole albums, not only one or two, but get a playlist, create a playlist
Yeah.
from the Laconic music and use it to relax. And I know that this kind of music evoke emotions. So when we
Mhm.
listen, drink a wine or a beer and relax, and we feel happier after that. Is
Yeah.
there some melancholic music too on on the middle of those ones?
Is
I
there?
like
Wait, sorry.
I like to listen to sad songs sometimes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Is there? Wait, what was the question?
Is there any melancholic music?
Oh, melancholic. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm trying to think melancholic. I mean, no, the okay. So there's these shorter pieces, what I call the miniatures, which are Nona, Decima, and Morta. They're all around 2 minutes long, and they sort of fit in between some of the other songs. Those are pretty melancholic, I think.
Sometimes I
Parts,
like to listen to sad songs and cry a little bit.
yeah. I mean, some songs really get to me. Actually, Fate. It sounds kind of cheery, but I just put out a video for that as well. You can find that on YouTube.
All right, we are
And
going to
it
see that.
starts cheery, but I mean, there's some really melancholic elements to it.
Great.
Um,
So you yeah, keep going.
yeah, I'm trying to think of parts of Refuge, which is a long song. So it can't really have the same emotional tone throughout the whole thing. You need to have some variation in the space of 18 or 19 minutes. So parts of that are melancholic, or some are very chilled out, some are very not emotional, but yeah, I mean emotional, but not melancholic, but more like epically tragic. But then parts of it are super upbeat. So that's all over the place. And in the last song, Equinox, which we were just talking about, yeah, it starts out really melancholic, but it ends up really cheery. Like it's supposed to be sort of a after you get through Refuge, which is the second to last song, which is really kind of emotionally exhausting for me to listen to. It's
Right,
kind of a things are okay. When you listen to Equinox, things are great, and you kind of leave the album feeling good about
right.
everything. So it's definitely not a melancholic album, but there's bits that are more sad, that are sadder.
So I personally I'm gonna explore everything because I love this kind of music. It's gonna be the soundtrack of my day, my relaxing day. Let me see. If I for those opening your portfolio right now, because you don't have like five songs only. You have two albums and some singles, etc. So
Mhm.
what kind of music that defines the work you do now that you released more albums, etc.? Is there one, the first one, so people can start from that one and go from there? What's your
I
suggestion?
think if I had to, so there's a difference. So there's a difference between what sort of defines the music and what are, I think, the most appealing songs to a broader audience. I think really, for me, the one that defines what
For
I
those
do
who
would
like
be,
epic music in this case.
yeah. I mean, if you really want epic, then you have to go for Refuge. But Refuge is a big investment of time. Um, if I wanted to give you something that really is most characteristic of what I do, I would say Fate, which is the first album. I mean, the first track on the new album,
Okay, we are going
because
to
it
start
covers a
from
lot of
there,
ground.
and
It's a
then
decent length.
we can go. We start from that one and go to the new album. Then, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, the first album.
Actually, Anthem's a good one too. I mean,
Oh,
it's sort
this
of an
one.
early piece.
Okay, let's listen to
Yeah,
that one.
that's pretty epic. Yeah, yeah, let's go with that one.
All right, let's go. Great. That's amazing. So in the end, it's the USA anthem, right?
Yeah, actually, so all the melodic lines in there are all derived from like the first few bars of the national anthem. They're quantized to different scales and reversed and inverted and reversed and inverted.
Okay.
So
That's
at the end you get
incredible.
to hear where it all came from. So it's kind of representative because it's instrumental. It's got obvious electronic components. It has multiple lines of touch guitars all interacting and weaving in and out of each other. It's one of the first songs I wrote from scratch. I
Wow.
recorded a lot of covers
If
before
that
that,
one
but
is one of the first, it's really, really good. That's
oh,
good,
good,
man.
thank you.
You
Yeah,
know,
so I mean, it gives you a taste of what the Laconic is about.
I was just listening and thinking about releasing music for a video game industry. The game industry is
Yeah.
huge, and
Mhm.
this kind of soundtracks for action games, etc. It's really, really good, amazing. So
Yeah, yeah,
Integrals, the first album after the single Strider. After that, we came with some other singles, and then we came with this new album in 2023. Nine
yeah.
tracks. Amor Fati. Is it Italian?
Yeah, it's Latin actually. I think it's
Latin.
this probably the same expression in Italian.
Oh, okay. What about this? The artistic name, De Laconic.
Yeah.
What? Why not like the iconic music?
That would be a good one. Um, but
Yeah, but laconic is almost the same pronounce. What's the meaning of
yeah,
that?
well, laconic means that you use few words. Um, that Yeah, I mean that's what it means. It means like terse, or it just means that you use few words to say things,
Right.
um,
Okay.
which is not the best indication for someone you want to interview. Um, but that's sort of how I am in real life. I don't know. I don't remember why I settled on that. I thought it was most, I don't know, evocative. And I thought it was appropriate for someone writing instrumentals. Like I don't have
Okay.
anything to say in words.
I'm asking that because in Spanish, we are talking about Italian, etc. Latin. In Spanish, la iconic is exactly the iconic.
Oh
So
wow. Oh yeah,
maybe
that's
you
cool.
didn't know, but you got
Iconic.
the name right. And Spanish and Portuguese and Italian all came from Latin too. So
Yeah.
you know where
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm talking
Sure.
about.
They're all
So
Romance languages. Yeah.
you are in the right path, and you even if you don't know, man. That's good. So from Amor Fati, that's this new album with 9 tracks.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you want to explore first, or I can just choose?
You know, I think I
I
I guess
love
I would
this
go with,
name here. There is a participation of Arali Dorov.
yeah. Airly is she's I think principal flutist at the Houston Symphony Orchestra. I'm really lucky to know her, and we could listen to uh, we could listen to any of these really. I mean, I love them all. It's hard for me to choose.
Oh, I
I mean,
love
we don't want to
this.
go for one that's too long, I'm sure, but
I love to hear that you love the music you are doing, all of them, the 9 tracks. I love to hear
yeah,
this.
I love every one of them. So yeah, Equinox is Airly. Airly plays on some other tracks too, but she's really integral to that track. Saber was one where I got to work with the very awesome Gary Husband, who is Gary's a world class drummer. Um, you might know him best because I mean he played in Level 42 for a long time, but
Oh, okay.
he's mainly like a
Is it the
jazz.
same single you released previously? Is this a new version, or this is a
No,
new song?
yeah, it's the same one I released previously. So that was released
Oh,
as a single. Um,
right.
but Gary Husband, an awesome drummer, but he's just as great a keyboardist, and he played keyboards on I think four different tracks. Saber is a great one. It depends. Saber's like, it's what I would call progressive salsa. Um, and
Interesting.
it's in 15/8 times, so it's got this really cool but natural sounding rhythm to it, which my drummer Juan Daman came up with, like the perfect, if
Okay.
anyone could do a Latin rhythm in 15/8, Juan, if Juan can't do it, nobody else can, and he did.
Right.
Dust is sort of a spaghetti western song. Mirror is super electronic. Refuge, I don't think we have time to listen to the whole thing here,
Yeah.
but check it out.
80 minutes. Jesus Christ. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's great.
Uh, so
I love
let's
it.
start with Mirror. That's electronic. And then we can go to
Yeah,
Saber. Right?
yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Wow, man, really. I just need
Thank you.
some magic mushrooms and a trip with that song. Oh my God, that's incredible. I love it.
Thanks.
That
Thank you.
rocky melody, and the high notes. Oh, Jesus, amazing. I just love it.
Great.
Wow,
I love that
amazing.
one. As I said, I love all of them, but in different ways, you know.
Wow, wow. Now I understand why you say I love all nine tracks. I can see that all of them are ready to go. If we talk about um, cinema production like Lord of Rings,
Yeah.
though they are very epic soundtracks,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Perfect. You feel inside a movie for real.
Yeah. 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 My wife always says that this song should be playing over the end credits or something, like any of them. She's like, this should be like the song that plays in your head as you walk out of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And the action scenes, just loved it.
Yeah.
Congratulations for the kind of music you are doing. There is a lot of quality, and it's even more difficult because it's very segmented. It's a niche,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and you still are doing something with so much quality, and this is amazing. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Don't
Yeah.
stop, please, please don't stop. We need you
Oh, yeah.
in this industry.
I'm already working on the next one, which is more. Now that you mention it, it's more consciously cinematic. I think um,
This one?
I'm doing some things with cinematic percussion and more strings, and but still mixed with, of course, mixed with guitars and electronics, and um,
You are
yeah. I
talking
mean, the
about
next
big
album will
big
be more
fetch or the
intentionally
next
cinematic.
album? The next
For
album.
the next album, yeah,
Oh, okay, you're right. Okay.
yeah,
Great. So who is oh we talked about Gary Husband already, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So we are going to play this one now, Saber.
yeah.
Uh Oh wow, Mark! I can tell you, I'm tired because I was dancing a lot. Man, my mind was just crazy, transported to another dimension because I was
Thanks.
imagining a musical, theater musical, the
Yeah.
actors all dancing because I'm very honest. I was in terms of epic salsa, I was a virgin. That's the first time I was listening to this kind of music. Wow.
Yeah.
How could you do salsa orchestra and also this epic thing? From where this came from? The idea of
Uh,
music. You are crazy. I can tell you, you are crazy. I could never imagine something like this.
I don't. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint any specific source for it. It's just a lifetime of listening to what I listen to, and then trying to make music that evokes sort of grand feelings and grand designs and epic feelings. So
That's I was holding my breath. For real. That's incredible.
I think that one's a banger. I think that's really great. And the things with that song, um, most for me, that song is really mostly Gary Husband playing the piano and the keyboards, and Juan playing the drums. And I was just sort of glad to be involved in it, even though I wrote it and play every other instrument. It feels
Yeah, but
like
this is your idea. This is your
I know.
project.
I know. I
He
mean,
made
what I
a
love
great
is
job.
like when I listen to something that I wrote and it's finished and everyone else has contributed and it's mixed and mastered. I'm like, I have no idea where that came from. I'm just glad that I had something to do with it.
Man, guys, for everyone involved, the results of it is amazing. And I have some friends who works with theater production. I'm just sending your album, so we never know if they like it,
Yeah,
and we can talk
yeah,
to you about using those songs, in a piece. So it's gonna be very interesting.
great.
Wow, Mark, I just loved everything that was listening. I'm really curious for Refugee and Equinox, because
Yeah,
Equinox because the name, and Refugee because the length. It's 18
yeah,
minutes. I want to
yeah,
listen to that. It's music non-stop. Obviously, we can't listen now, but and
yeah,
I
yeah.
could even be talking to you for 24 hours, but we have to finish the interview. I will be exploring your album and also writing an article about this kind of music, and also attaching this interview at the end of the article, and
Okay,
your album too, so the readers can just read about you, watch the interview, and listen to your music and follow
awesome.
you, obviously.
You follow me.
Thank you very much for the interview. It's an honor to have
Thank
an
you.
artist with
This is
such
great.
quality, here. And come back when you have any new projects. Just come back to us. We have a new interview,
Okay.
talk about the new projects. All right.
Yeah, I will. I promise.
Do you have any message for those listening to your music now, getting to know your new album, etc.?
Yeah, the one I think thing I have about suggestion for if you go to listen to it, don't don't judge the song by the first 30 seconds because they all head off in some totally different direction. Um, and I can't help it, but every song just gets more, the epicness level starts off low and it peaks towards the end of the song because that's how I wrote songs, at least on this album. So keep listening, and you might be surprised.
And from my personal experience, my heart was almost exploding with salsa. I don't know how Mark can do it, but my heart was boom, 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 boom at the end. Oh, you
Oh,
are
that's
amazing.
great to hear.
For real, for real. You could just put my heart racing like crazy with salsa. This is incredible.
Salsa.
Right. So see you next time. And
Yeah.
we'll have a short video now, and keep online, please. I want to talk to you. Okay?
Okay, good.
See you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.